We're going to start out with my story. I was born and raised in Chicago. My mom raised me and my younger brother, who's 10 years younger than me. And the early days weren't so easy. We're on and off food stamps, housing support, and I knew one thing. I wanted something more for me and my family. You know, it was really tough for me seeing all the people around us having more. And sports was what I saw my way out with, sports. The challenge was, I was a tall, skinny kid. When I graduated high school, I was like 6'4" and about $160, okay? For those that might not know height and weight, they called me the giraffe, okay? Don't worry, I know you guys got your own nicknames. I'll find them or make them up. And so what I did is I made a decision. If you heard last night, nothing happens unless you decide. You got to decide. So I made a decision. I'm going to get a Division I football scholarship. Remember, I'm 6'4", like 160. So I went to a junior college in Chicago and started training my butt off. And this is the beginning of my performance research. But this wasn't the day and age now where you just click a button and you get like 80 personal trainers and fitness. It's like, this is the kind of day where you're like, I heard about this company that if I send them a letter, they'll send me a catalog. And then I'll fill the catalog out. And then, so 3 months later, I get some gear. But I started learning how to get bigger, faster, and stronger. And after the second season of my junior college, things had changed because I made them change. I kept growing, so I was about 6'5". Now I was 230 pounds on every recruiting list for tight ends in the area. And it was the second or third game of the season. And I was jacked up. All the scouts were there. This is my time to shine. I'm starting to climb up that ladder of success. I'm making progress. And it was a fall day, early fall day in Chicago. And I remember it was a 7-yard route. And I'm in the huddle, look over at the quarterback, calls my play, nods. I'm up there. I get up to the line. We've got some football players in here. And I sprint off the line about 7 yards, right into the open, right between the linebackers. I reach up, I get that ball, and then bang! The next thing I know, I'm on the ground and this grass smells really good. And I feel this radiating pain going down my leg. I just tore my hamstring. So they help me off the field. I look over to the left. There's the scouts, writing down in their book. And at that moment, it was one of those moments where I felt my whole life was going to end. You ever have a time when you had something happen, you just thought it was all over? You just didn't know what to do? But I did know one thing, that I wasn't going to quit. I just had to keep going. So I started rehabbing. You know, when you're young, your body repairs, okay? I was reminded this morning when I was on my foam roller, I go, man, I'm not 18 anymore. I know you can relate to that, some of you older folks in here. So I start rehabbing. And about 8 weeks later, we were in the Like Coca-Cola bowl game. Yes, they had bowl games for junior colleges back then. And the coach comes up and says, Griff, we think you can play. And I had been practicing kind of like getting back, but I was like 80%. But here's what he goes, what we're going to do. We got a trick. I love tricks. He goes, you're going to bend your leg like this, and then we're going to tape you from here to the top of your butt so your leg won't fully extend. So you can go out and play. Thinking, you know, you're 19, you'll cut your finger off, right? You're like, okay, no problem. So I go out there, play the game, do okay, get through, don't get injured, and about 6 weeks later, I get a Division I scholarship to Western Michigan. Now, it wasn't the school I wanted to go to. You know, I wanted to go to like Ohio State or Michigan, even Illinois back then. But I was still getting up on that ladder of success. I was making progress. So now I'm in Kalamazoo, Michigan. The Broncos. Any Bronco fans in here? That's okay. So I'm in practice, and we go through the conditioning, and it's the first day of full pad spring practice. But spring in Kalamazoo, Michigan, it's like the dead of winter. I pull up to the stadium. I see snow plows getting the snow off of the side of the turf. They get in the locker room, sit down, and I start getting a little nervous. It's like, man, what if I get hurt again? What if I'm not a football player. All these thoughts were coming into my head. Because I identified my success and who I was going to be. It was going to be through athletics. I remember being in the locker room, I could see my breath. You know, it's like, I could see my breath. I get the shoulder pads on, ice cold, put them on, I get out to practice. And first 20, 30 minutes, I'm lighting it up. I'm like, really? It's this easy? And, you know, contact drills, everything. And so I get up on the line. They give me like a little 10-yard post route, get up there, run down the field, turn, and I'm running. And all of a sudden, everything went silent. Just silent. Until I felt the cold turf on my body. I just tore my hamstring again. First day, Division I practice. I'm devastated. 2 hamstrings, 2 years. So, get off the field, depressed. I said, you know what? I'm not going to stop. I'm going to change schools. I'm going to get some more eligibility. I transfer schools to Mesa College, an NAIA school. Those that may know, that's a different governing body, different eligibility. I get there, it's like the Bad News Bear team. I mean, we got criminals. We got guys with beards with 4 different last names that are like 45 playing. But it was a great school because they got NFL guys in. They got, you know, free agents, some drafted. But it was crazy. And then you had your local talent. So I played my first year there. I do pretty good. And then it was my senior year. I go home. I start training. And I'm like shredded. I'm fit. I'm ready to go. And I remember the day I went on the track. I had those dolphin shorts. Anyone remember dolphin shorts? A few guys and gals in here. I had the blue and white ones. Man, I got some pictures. Those are scary. I had the dolphin shorts. So the beginning of your senior year, they have pro timing day. So the pros come in, and I'm on the track, and I'm super excited. I'm fit, strongest I've ever been. I get down in my stance, hot asphalt track, Grand Junction, Colorado, and I fly down that track. And I explode across that finish line, on the track, tumbling on the track, tore my other hamstring. 3 years, 3 hamstrings. You can't even make this stuff up. So I remember laying there, feeling the hot asphalt on my body, and just going, what the f is going on? But you know, I'm from Chicago. I was an amateur boxer as well. You know, I wasn't so smart. I'm not going to quit. I'm going to go back home. I'm going to change positions. But this time I'm going to play tackle. So tackle, for those that may not know the football game, is kind of the same blocking scheme as a tight end, weak side tackle, but you're not going to have to run and sprint and do all that stuff. So I'm home and I'm training, and I am pissed off now. I am not a nice human being. And then somebody introduced the secret vitamins. You know what the secret vitamins are? They're the vitamins that when you start taking them, every time you go to the gym, you get bigger and stronger and faster. And I was like, wow. I was like, this is amazing. So I went from about 240 pounds to this. Yes, that is me. You can laugh. Go ahead. That was me. And I'm doing great. Really, I feel like, man, I'm a new guy. And then about a week into camp, it was a Saturday morning, and I woke up. And I didn't want to go to practice. But it wasn't the kind of, I don't want to go to practice, I'm tired. Like some of you might have woke up today and go, oh, I'm tired, I just want to. It was like, I never want to go back to playing football. And I realized in that moment that my passion for football was gone. And as I laid there, I realized all I ever wanted to do was be successful. That's what I wanted. But time had changed, and I had not changed with it. And all I was worried about is not failing my dream. And I was failing myself. So that moment and that day, I made a decision. All the time I was wasting and all the suffering I was going through, I was going to retire, turn my gear in. And there was this whole sense of freedom. This whole sense of freedom. And in that day also, while I laid there, I realized I'd been climbing up that ladder of success, just keep reaching for it, and it was on the wrong wall. And what I learned were a couple things. A, I was in a blind spot. I couldn't see what I couldn't see. I made a decision. I had set my GPS years before, and I couldn't see that no longer was me. Things were changing, and I wasn't. Life was passing me by. I was done. I was done, and I needed to change my game. And that I could, and success would take on another shape and form. So my question to each and every one of you is this, and it's very simple. What game do you need to change? What strategies, tools, mindsets, beliefs do you need to change? And are you in a blind spot? We're going to find out if you're in a blind spot. We're going to find out how to get you better. But that day is what got me here today. So I want you to write down, right now, little music, Chris, what's the one thing you want to change? What's the one thing? It could be whatever it is. Get up earlier, brush your teeth, write a book, be kind. So just write down. If there's more, just think about what is the one thing you want to change.